What causes the sweet cravings? How do we lose self-control, especially at 7, 8 p.m., TV is on, you've already had dinner, and you run to the counter or the pantry or the fridge. What's your thing? Is it chips? Is it sweets? What is it? So here's what happens. We have high carbohydrate meals or sugars or other things that just have too much sugar in it essentially, and it rises your blood glucose. So if you picture a graph, we have this rise in blood glucose, and you get this boost of energy, you're feeling good, short term anyway, and then it causes your pancreas, this organ over here, to secrete something called insulin, which is a hormone to take all that extra blood sugar and store it away safely into muscle, liver, and fat. So insulin, it's not good or bad, it's just if we have too much insulin, we get too much storage of this energy and it turns into fat. So if you consume too much sugars and starches and carbs, like the standard American diet, SAD, the SAD diet, you'll get an overreactive release of insulin. So again, if you picture this graph here, this blood sugar is coming up because of your eating, your meals. Your body will respond, almost over-respond with too much insulin to bring that down, and actually sets you up for what we call a crash, or a blood sugar crash, low glycemia. So when you crash, you tend to have fatigue, depression, your brain starts to freak out because it runs on glucose moment by moment by moment. If there's not enough glucose in the blood, the brain will send up something called cortisol at the bottom of that to jack up the blood sugar again, and cortisol will cause glucagon to release stored sugar to bring sugar back into the blood so the brain can feed again. All right? So think of that. When you're in this crash state and your brain freaks out, puts you in this emergency response, that's when you get those cravings. That's when you can't control yourself. You're like a mind-numb robot getting whatever it can to survive the next few minutes. And it's hard to override that. Very difficult to override that. So the idea is you want to avoid this up and down thing. Feeding too much sugar, feel good, and there's a crash and cravings. And usually when you're doing the cravings and feeding the body with craving food, it's usually not good stuff. Usually it's not carrots and celery and things like that. Usually it's chips and candy and whatever. So when you're down here and you get that cortisol, that emergency response of cortisol hormone to bring the blood sugar back up, that is a chaotic reactive state. And the more you're doing that, the less you're going to have success losing fat loss, and certainly not keeping it off, keeping off the fat loss. So even if you lost the weight successfully, if you have a lifestyle where you eat too much sugar essentially, you're going to have this up and down, and you're going to screw up at some point. It's just not going to last for you. So you're never going to lose fat in a stressful environment. A, and then metabolically stressful environment. B, therefore never cause your blood sugar to spike with your dietary habits, your snacking habits. Some people drink pop and they don't realize how much sugar's in that, or they put their creamers and their sugar in their coffee in the morning and realize how much sugar's in there. The bagel in the morning, or the big helping of white rice with dinner, there's a lot of sugar there. So if you start to pay attention to what you're actually eating, you can really make some better decisions and avoid this up and down pitfall.